Now, there are elected officials who fear that word accountability, and it's very important that the public realize that there are elected officials out there parsing words and talking about the fact that saying that everyone is entitled, every school district is entitled to equal funding, and that is not a fact. Everyone is entitled to a sound basic education. If there are school districts that require more funding and have special needs, then they will get extra funding. Nowhere in our Constitution, nowhere in the state education law does it guarantee a windfall for a wealthier district. What it guarantees is a sound basic education, which is our obligation to the students and to the children of our community, and it's also under the contract of excellence, our obligation to provide accountability. So it's very important that our community become educated, realize that there's a lot of parsing of words, and that the issue is there are wealthier districts trying to cloud up the issue, but that we have a responsibility to provide adequate and a sound basic education coupled with responsibility to our taxpayer. There is nothing whatsoever wrong with the concept of spending the taxpayers' money where it's needed and not spending it where it's not needed. That is what this country is about. That is what we as elected officials have a responsibility to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Assemblyman Ramos. Next, we have Legislator Rick Montana.
Thank you. I'm Legislator Rick Montana. I represent Brentwood, Central Islip, the Suffolk Legislature. I'm here with the members of this educational advocacy group, along with Assemblyman Ramos. The bottom line is that we have to ensure that all kids here in Suffolk County receive a quality and equal education. We've got to start teaching our kids at a young age, and we want to make sure that the time they graduate from high school and go into college, they have had the equal opportunity to quality education. I think the Contract of Excellence provides that. We're going to advocate strongly to make sure that this district and the other districts that need funding get adequate funding. We're going to work with my colleague in the Assembly, Assemblyman Ramos, and other Assembly members to make sure that Brentwood, Central Islip, and the districts that need the funding to provide the quality of education that we expect for our kids is provided.
Thank you. Last, we have Brentwood School Board member.
Thank you.
My name is Joe Fritz. I've been on the Brentwood School Board for the last 2 years. Brentwood school system deserves the same package given to more affluent schools. At present, our school system has to do without when wealthier schools are getting a bigger bang for their buck than Brentwood. Brentwood is not alone. Other school districts in Long Island and other parts of the state are not getting their share of aid from the legislature. We all know that the manner of funding education is grossly unfair, but the less affluent are given lip service from the legislature. Bear in mind, the students are the only ones getting shortchanged. The plant's in good shape, the teachers are among the best paid in Long Island, but the students are not getting their share of the state package. Bear in mind, this community and others similar to ours are providing society with a tremendous array of services. We work in hospitals, we do car repairs, we fix homes, we provide police and fire services, we deliver mail, we clean streets, we work our roads, we mow the lawns. Ask yourself this question: what if those who live in this community or others similar like ours refuse to, for 1 or 2 days, to provide these services to others? The community as we know it would come to a grinding halt. Well, maybe it's time to let others know that we have the power. We have the power to make a difference, to let others know that we will not be taken for granted. The legislature only understands those who are willing to take protest to the next level. This community provides many services and expects to get equal treatment from the legislature when it comes to educating our young. Let's begin now.
Thank you. In closing, I just want to reiterate that we'd like to support the work done by Governor Spitzer and others in the legislature in delivering the contracts for excellence and delivering the first year of funding, the $60.43 million. We're now asking in Brentwood for the additional $18.49 million for the next year. We've gotten 20%, we need the other 80% over the next 4 years. And the only way we could get that is through accountability measures that are seen through the Contracts for Excellence, as well as the increased money. So there's been people talking about a need for more money, and we applaud that. Any more money for school aid we desire, as long as it goes through a fair funding formula to make sure that students that desperately need the money get it. Thank you. We're now open for any comment.
I just want to ask a couple of quick questions, because in a nutshell, can you kind of describe this for me? A little bit vague in terms of my knowledge on how the Contracts of Excellence work, but Mr. Sessi wants to deliver about $7 billion over the next 4 years as part of this program.
Yes.
This, and whatever that may be on a case, like, you know, each year, this $100 million that we've been hearing about that was restored to the budget last year that senators are pushing for this year again, is that part of the Contracts of Excellence, this sort of high-tax formula that we've been hearing about, or is that separate?
That is separate money outside of the school aid formula, right? And we're saying any additional fund for education should go through the formula. It's predictable, it's understandable, and it makes sure that we could target money to the classroom and to the students that need it most.
Is that factor sort of separate from this report today?
The report deals with the Contract for Excellence process, right? But it is related, because without funding, the contracts really mean nothing. And so any funding, any advocacy for funding outside of the contract actually weakens the contract.
Sure. Okay, and that's what's going on now. Is we saw that $100 million last year. Mm-hmm. Another push again this year by senators, particularly here on Long Island.
Yeah, and just to be clear, don't get us wrong, we would love an extra $100 million for Long Island, sure, as long as it goes through the fair funding formula.
And the fear is that right now, this $100 million may be used on more of a political slant.
There's no accountability attached to it. It's just money that could go really anywhere. It doesn't necessarily need to go to the classroom, and that's the new accountability that we have under the contracts. That's what makes it such an important program.
The other, I'm sorry, I hope nobody else trying to ask questions, but in a nutshell, when we look at the report, it looks like you're happy with the formula and
sure,
the way. I mean, you've got 20% so far. Mm-hmm. Like you said, this is year one.
Yeah.
So
overall, we're happy with the contract. There are little tweaks, like the public participation part. You know, most of the school districts, 55 school districts around the state that are under contracts, most of the school districts basically ignored that, and the state education department really didn't enforce that part of it. We're hoping in the following years, like 2008, that there's true public participation that allows parents and everybody else to participate in the process.
Gotcha. So in terms of transparency.
Yeah. And then one other piece is that there's school districts out of the contract that we feel should be on the contract. Brentwood is in the contract, Copaig is, but we feel that Central Islip should be under contract, Hempstead should be under contract, so that we can make sure that those monies get to the classroom.
Why aren't those under contract?
Well, we feel that some of the methods that are used are kind of arbitrary. You know, it's really just based on dollar amounts. So if you get more than a 10% increase, you're under contract. So even if you had a 9% increase or a 9.5% increase, you wouldn't be under contract. So we feel like they need to, up in Albany, they need to tweak some of those numbers to make sure that more school districts that desperately need it are included.
Would you characterize the Contracts for Excellence program as a merit-based system, incentive-based system, or is it a student need?
It's based on student need. It's based on student need.
So if you're a school and you're saying, hey, we're gonna have an after-school program, we're gonna do this, but we want the money for it, whether we're wealthy or not, because that sounds incentive-based.
I mean, the contracts really are based on need. I mean, it's a formula that looks at the population, looks at the number of English language learners, looks at the general wealth of the community, looks at the number of students on and reduce lunch, and it creates, through this formula, you know, that's very predictable, it gives you a number at the end.
So a wealthy school that wants to reduce class size perhaps will still get money because of that, and a poor school that wants to have an after-school program could possibly get money that way as well. So
all schools get money from the state,
sure,
but depending on the need, that'll depend the amount of money, also depending on the population, a number of different
the idea is to have no disparity.
Right, the idea is, so what we're asking for is equity, not just equality. You know, there's definitely school districts that need funds to deal with special populations that everybody across the board agrees. There's no question about it. We just need to make sure that it happens and that it's above the board, and politics, you know, at the end of the day, don't play factor in that. That it's all about student need. And we feel like unfortunately, that politics are again trying to creep in.
Sorry for all the questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good question. Right. Any other comment? Nope. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.